Hey there, guys. We're going to be going back to the final magical boss on Dark Visions number 9 for an alternate clear. This is not really a budget clear. I asked some friends of mine what they thought people would rather see. Would you rather see a true budget clear using only 7-star units, but was not a perfect score? And it'd be pretty far off a perfect score using only 7 stars and no STMRs. Or would people rather see an alternate clear that uses powerful gear in units, but does not use Neovision's Terra, who is currently, the big MVP? And most of my friends said they'd rather see a no Terra clear that uses good gear instead of a budget clear, like a real budget clear that does not perfect score. They said, a perfect score without Terra is more beneficial. So we're going to go for a perfect score without using Terra. The gear is otherwise powerful. If you don't have as good of a gear, you might get less score. But this is a strategy you can use, and do the best you can with the gear you own. So we are going to be using Ibarra, who is powerful, but honestly, the MVP we're going to be using is Emperor. He's going to be carrying most of the damage on this fight. So here's the team we're going to use. The boss does physical ice damage and magical dark damage. Because we're also using Sabin, who can evade cover on the first 2 turns, we don't have to gear ice resist. But if you're not using Sabin, you are going to need 100% ice resist on your team after a buff. So we're only going to be gearing for 30% to dark with a 70% buff from Anima that Fit is on. So Ibarra, like I mentioned, is going to be a big damage dealer here. Everyone has always 30% or better to dark resist in their forms. We gave her a Jade Pendant to do a status immunity buff. I know the boss has status effects in his kit. I don't know what turn he uses them on. I don't know if this is required or not. The boss may not use status effects until a later turn. I don't know. But just in case, we're doing a status immunity buff on turn 1 with Ibarra. And then her shift form is going to be for LB. She's geared for LB damage. And again, this is pretty good gear. This is just not really budget. You would just gear the best you can. And she's using Saul's card. She's using some LB damage. She doesn't have any killers because Magical Aqua Killer is really hard to gear for. That's one of the problems with this fight is Magical Aqua Killer. It's so rare. It really is. So she's got 95 Magical Aqua. That's mostly from an Esper and Grand Star. And 155 LB damage. Emperor is going to be the main damage. And the base form, he's only using a little bit of Dark Resist. Now, I gave him the full Hisami Scroll so you can cast Blazega. This is in case you're not using Sabin. That's an easy source of Ice Resist. Because Emperor on turn 1 is not doing anything. So you could very easily cast Bar Blazega on turn 1 with Emperor, and you'd be fine. His shift form is wearing 30 or better Dark Resist, and he's geared for LB damage and Aqua Killer. When I say he's geared for Aqua Killer, he's using my literally only source of Magical Aqua Killer, the Hunt Club Aquan. It's a really rare killer. He stole Ibarra's card for the higher magic, and he's got 175 LB and 175 Aqua Killer. Sabin is going to be, like I said, evade covering on turn 1 and 2, a little bit of dark resist so the magic doesn't hurt him. And then on the kill turn, he's going to shift. Because he's not shifting until the kill turn, his shift form does not need any resistances. He's using a little bit of magic. His damage is not super relevant. He's mostly going to be a support chainer, but he's going to chip in a little bit of damage. And he's got 50 Aqua Killer from the Serpent Mace. And for most of the mages, I should mention, you want to stick to rods where possible. Because we're using realms, try to stick to rods. Like, for example, don't use Ibarra's STMR unless it's a really big damage upgrade for you. Etc. And then Summerfina and Lid are going to be, they're going to be doing Dark Resist on the first turn from Anima. We've got Enshrouded by Darkness. And then on turn 2, they're going to break. They're going to give us a 75% Aqua Killer buff. And they're going to give Water Splash for single-casted AR chains. I know most of my viewers really hate AR frames. Understandable. Dual-casting AR is very hard to chain. I do understand that. So for the alternate clears, I try to avoid double-casted AR frames, especially triple-casted AR frames. But single-casted AR frame is very easy to chain by hand. That should be no problem. So make sure she is not dual-wielding. and we're going to single cast AR on her and Realm on the kill turn. So make sure Realm is also single wielding for the AR frames. Other than that, she needs to be at least 8,000 or higher hit points because she's going to be doing a skill that deals 8,000 damage to herself. We don't want her to die. Give her some 30% or better dark resist, and give her Call of the Wild and enough autofill to have 12 autofill per turn. That way, she can do her LB on turn 2. You don't need to level it, but even her level 1 LB is a 15% fire amplify, and that's going to boost the damage of Kuja and Emperor by a decent amount. And then Kuja is just a generic fire chainer. He is honestly one of the best options for fire chainers outside of like Terra, because he has the dual wield cap, he has good magic, he's easy to gear, etc. So he is he's a decent fire chainer. He's got 30 dark resist, and he's got some good gear. I don't think he has any killers, though. Oh, he has 50 aqua killer from something. I'm not even sure where that's coming from. Where is that aqua killer coming from? Oh, Bahamut. Okay, yeah, cool. Let's give it a go. So we're going for a turn 3 clear. Alright, so turn 1, Sabin will cover physical with evasion. This team does not need it, but if you're not using Sabin, Emperor on turn 1 would do Barbalizega. Fid will do Enshrouded by Darkness. Ibarra will do Jade Pendant for the status immunity. I don't know if this is required, but just in case, we're doing it. Kuja on turn 1 is just going to cast Warfare. That's going to unlock his good skills for later. And then Realm's going to cast both of her cooldowns. One of them is going to be a Rod in Peril, and the other is going to fill LB gauge for herself and Emperor. So Emperor's LB is good to go, and Realm's will be as soon as she auto-regens. There it is. Realm's LB is good to go as well. So there's some ice physical attacks where evade covering with Sabin. If you're not using Sabin, you would be resisting them. And then the dark magic, we're all resisting. Alright, so on the next turns, Emperor is going to shift, and we're going to get ready for his LB. So we're going to quad cast. We're going to start with Absolute Fire. We don't want to deal damage to the boss yet, so we're going to do that first. Then we're going to cast Kneel Before Me for that big magic buff. Go ahead and wait for Emperor to finish. Ibarra is going to shift, and we're going to do Weakening Appeal. This is her magic buff, and it also imperils the boss by darkness to 120%. Kuja is going to just double cast Overture and Soul Splitter. That's going to do the 120 Fire Imperil. It's also a 120 Light Imperil for Sabin. Realm is going to use her LB. That's going to be that 15% Fire Amplify. Summerfina and Lit are going to triple. They're going to Water Fight to give her and Realm AR frames, single-wielded AR frames. We're going to Aqua Hunter to buff Aqua Killer, and then we're going to Deep Sea Swimming to break the boss's spirit by 84%. This turn, Sabin has nothing to do, so he can just guard. Okay, some ice attacks we're evade covering, some dark attacks we're immune to, and the boss powers up for a bad attack on turn 3, but we're killing him on turn 3, so we don't really care. Okay, so Ibarra is going to LB, Emperor is going to LB, both of them in their shifted form. Sabin is going to shift, and now we're going to quadruple his single target Aura Cannon, which is Chaos Wave Awaken frames. And then Kuja is going to double cast Flare Symphony, Igneous Seal, and then Warfare. Realm and Fid are going to single cast the Water Splash AR frames. And again, single casted is really easy to do. So for the timing, we're going to send Ibarra first. About a second later, like half second later, we're going to send Emperor. Then a moment later, we're going to send the AR Chainers. Then we're going to send the Chaos Wave Awaken Chainers. So you can send them in batches. Make it a little bit easier to chain. And there it is. That should have been a damage cap. Without using Terra. Should have been. Yeah, we got it. Okay. So there it is. You know, no Terra. We did pretty easy to chain stuff. I know Chaos Wave Awaken people don't like, but I mean, you got to talk to Gumi for that one. Basically every mage in the game is Chaos Wave Awakened, so there's no getting around that one. But single casted AR frames, very easy to chain by hand. 2 LB finishers, and there it is. That's your 140 chain cap. That's your damage cap. That is no Terra. Pretty good. So I will figure out a cheaper way to do the cat. The cat should be pretty easy. And then cheaper way to do Golem. We are probably not going to damage cap Golem with a budget run not using Terra. But I'll show an alternate way without Terra on Golem sometime this week. Alright, see you guys for the next one.